Hello, my name is Taylor McWilliams. This is for DS. This is my technology update. I am going to be going over airbag vests. They're a pretty new technology. I thought it would be very well suited. This primarily falls in the lane of traffic safety, specifically for motorcyclists. As you can see, this is making motorcycling safer. I own one of these, so I thought it'd be cool to be able to talk about something I have and use fairly regularly for motorcycle riding. All right. What is an airbag vest? So an airbag vest is a new and improved way of protecting motorcycle riders from impacts as well as road rash and other hazards riders may experience when involved in a crash. They've been around for a while, but they haven't been super effective. Uh, there's been many ways that people have went about making these. They're uh, It's kind of a weird concept to think about when you're like wearing one of these instead of it being installed in the actual vehicle. Um, an airbag. So, for example, like I would say these are probably getting to the point now where you're going to start seeing them get used a little more frequently. Helite's probably the most well-known company that makes them. There are others, but Helite's probably the biggest one when it comes to motorcycling. Uh, just because they're the most prominent company by far. They're based in the UK, so when I ordered mine, it took it about like a month to get here. This is a video. These guys are at a track day, which is where you race motorcycles. They're demonstrating how the airbag vest works, how it deploys, and which I'll go over in a second, and how it can be used to protect the rider in the event of a crash from the road, other vehicles, and their own motorcycle from falling on them. But yeah, if you check out that link, it's a great, helpful video and kind of a summary of everything I'm going to go over in here. All right, so how does this thing work? So the airbag vest deploys only upon impact using a tether system in conjunction with a CO2 cartridge. So this tether is installed under the seat by the rider. It's super easy. I did it myself. All you need is a little like hex key, and you'll take the nuts out of the seat and pop it off. And then the tether has like a little loop and a strap, and so you just stick the loop under the frame, run the strap through the loop, pull it tight, obviously, and then so there's no slack. And then you put the seat back on, and the buckle will stick out about probably like 5 inches or so. And then this tether clips to the buckle. So it's very easy to install. Um, I think its simplicity is probably what makes it so like is going to make it more prominent is how easy it is to use. All right, so how does this work on from a science standpoint? So basically, the CO2 cartridge. If you've ever seen one of those, it looks like it's just a little cylinder with a little like head at the top, and it's inside a pocket in the vest itself. So it's on the right side. It's probably around your ribs. Um, the vest has a back protector. It's a solid foam. It's a SAS Tech back protector. It's a very high rating, very impact absorbent. So how it works is the tether attaches to the bike, and once it's deployed, let's say you're riding like this guy, you dump the bike, you fly off. The tether, it takes a certain amount of force to activate. So, but I mean, obviously, falling off will activate it. It'll pull that tether almost like a grenade pin from your vest, and it'll inflate the vest in like a tenth of a second. So it'll explode. It'll inflate to cover your chest, your back, your sides, and your neck. And I think your neck is probably the spot that motorcycling has had a hard time getting around, because otherwise you would have a lot of bikers will wear neck protectors, so they like slot in your helmet or cover your neck. It's to keep your neck from moving in the event of a crash. But this airbag vest will inflate around it, so it'll come up to your chin. It'll keep your head from moving, because a lot of times during accidents, if you let's say you have a buddy, um, a lot of people, sadly, are not first aid trained. So when there's an accident, someone will try and move you, which is a huge no-no when potential neck and spinal injuries are involved. You do not move them. And this vest kind of forces you to not be able to move their head until EMTs arrive, which is very key for limiting spinal injuries and paralysis that may have occurred or can occur from a motorcycle accident. So these vests are obviously still up and coming. They work as intended, but there's not a whole lot of them out there right now. Like they're not being used very widely. There's many studies that show that they can reduce forward momentum by up to 60%, which is huge. Because let's say you're riding and you hit the back end of a bus because you're going too fast or whatever. That vest that 60% opens up your survival rate a lot. Like if you hit the back of a bus with nothing, like you're wearing a t-shirt, you're gonna get smashed to pieces. But if you're wearing an airbag vest, those otherwise broken, sternum, collarbone, shoulders, and ribs could just be bruises, minor breaks. Can even reduce head trauma up to 80%. That is very large. So helmets, there's different ratings for helmets as well. But even with a helmet, you can still get traumatic brain injuries in the event of a motorcycle wreck. But these vests, the way they support your head and back, minimize those, which is very insane. Like that's very helpful for increasing the chances of survival for motorcycle riders and increasing the chance of you not, breaking your neck or your back or your head, which is very important for in the event of a crash. You would like to be able to walk afterwards, and so I think having these vests to protect your neck and your head is very important and very key. This is a link where I found the information for that. Costs. All right, so the biggest downside of these vests, I think, are their costs. They are on the more expensive side when it comes to motorcycle gear. Most motorcycle jackets will probably run you. I have a leather one that has pads in it. That one ran me around $400. I saw the airbag vest. I watched a bunch of videos, read a bunch of reviews, and I decided it was worth the investment. Can't put a price on safety. Ran me around $700, which kind of stings, but for what they can do, I think you really are getting the bang for your buck here. Yeah, I think they're very worth it, in my opinion. So here's the advantages. So very reliable protection. It's going to work when activated. Obviously check your gear before you ride, but most likely it's going to work. They're very reliable, easy to install. This is cool. Multiple uses before having to send it back for inspection. A lot of people would think you'd only get one use out of these, but you don't. So whenever the CO2 cartridge is used up, it explodes, it inflates the vest. The vest will slowly deflate. You can order new cartridges from the company for like $20, which is insane. Usually you can get 6 uses out of them before having to send them back. I would say if you get 6 uses out of them, you probably shouldn't be riding a motorcycle in the first place. Because if you wreck that many times, that's not good. You should probably take a class or do some training or something like that. Disadvantages: high costs. Like I said, $700 is quite an investment. It makes it a kind of hard barrier for entry for new riders, which is unfortunate because new riders are arguably the people who need this kind of technology the most. Because they're new, they're still trying to figure out, how do I turn this big bike in corners? How do I lean it over and make those turns? And if you mess up, it really can cost you your life. And so having this kind of technology, bringing the price down, increasing competition would, I think, really lower that barrier to entry for new riders. They're not utilized to their full potential because they're not widely used. The only downside I would say is they're not super convenient to carry. They're kind of hard to pack. You can fit it in a backpack. You really have to try. Um, a lot of people like the kind of like leathery like jackets. They're like, I'm a biker, I like this leather. Where these just kind of look like a vest. A lot of people don't like the look of it. That's, I mean, it's a disadvantage in some people's eyes, but I mean, safety first. All right, these are slowly being incorporated into tracksuits for racing, which is very cool. A big hazard in racing is your bike falling on you because obviously there's no cars, it's track. Um, if you're a bike, a lot of track bikes, 600 cc and above, weigh quite a bit, probably around 400, 500 pounds. And, let's say you wreck, do not want a bike that big falling on your spine. And so having an airbag vest to inflate and protect your back and your chest and your torso and neck is very key for not having very bad injuries on the track. CO2 collars to be replaced. There are many jackets that are slowly integrating the vests into the actual jacket, so you can still have that like leather biker look, but have the safety of the airbag vest as well, which is super awesome. But yeah, this is my presentation on airbag vests. These are my references. Thank you so much for your time, and